Hey everyone, this is our iteration release video for the product marketing team on digital experience for December 1st. I'm going to hand this over to Tina to go first. She can show some things and we can go around the room from there.
Sure, thanks. Here should be seeing my screen. My primary focus and release for this iteration are 8 iterations on the comparison page. So there's this one here, which is an interpretation of this image that was provided to me. So we were kind of asked to make this interactive. So we have a version like this where there's a little pop-up to get more. You click here, you can go to the GitHub page, the versus pages. So I made some prototypes for all of these. So this is iteration version 4. This is 5, which is closer to what that image is with the logos here, just to kind of satisfy that request. And then we're experimenting with progress bars instead of the Harvey balls with that same image in mind. We find that kind of looking at that vertically, like stacked vertical progress bars, it's easier to identify, the percentages of where we are. And then there's a version here, which is Michael kind of sketched out an idea where we kind of give an overview, and then it opens up this other table here where you can learn more. And you'll see that we're kind of looking at different versions again of this progress bar. And then that kind of inspired this version, which is kind of the same concept as the one previously, but instead of opening a new table, everything is kind of accessible from this page. We've got the pop-up here, so there's a little bit less clicking, and it's kind of easy to learn and maybe a little less chaotic than this one. Let's look at this one. But this one also is very utilitarian. So we'll see where we're going to present those on Friday, and we'll see where we'll end up with that. I think, that pretty much took up my whole iteration because prototyping those took a long time, and I worked a bit on the nav and other things, and GitLab dedicated, yeah, that took a long time too. But I think Margaret will show that. So I'll go to Margaret next.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me know when you guys can see it. So yeah, during this iteration, I mostly focused on this GitLab dedicated page. It's a pretty straightforward page. We just reuse some of the sections that we've been creating for the security pages. Yep, this is the form that we added, and again, reusing some of the components that we already had. I also worked in some content updates for the platform page, and I helped out with some of blog related updates that Avis and Timmy are working on. I also helped Hanif with some content bugs that he was having for the topics pages, but that was it for my iteration. I guess I'm just gonna pass it out to Mateo.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so first I worked on a bunch of different things here in the customer page. First thing was adding a new case study, the Dunham case study, which now shows up over here. I also updated these filters to allow a single case study having multiple tags for it to show in different filters. So if I filter for healthcare, which is a new one that I added, this one comes up, but it also comes up from technology. So it's here. So though that is now supported. And I also updated this header, which was having a render issue. It was rendering like this on page load, which was a bit ugly. All of these tabs were showing up for a second, and then it would load like this after that. But now when loading the page, just loads normally. I also updated the dropdown component in Slippers to have an option where we can set a label to show before the selected option. So the example was sorted by. so that the dropdown can show this sort by before the selected option. And you just load this again. I also updated the icons in features, and I think that's it. I also created this direct linking to the pricing page FAQ. This was a very old issue, 7 months old, but still could be done. So pick that one up. Yeah, that's it for my iteration. I will pass it over to Nathan.
Thanks, Mateo. Yeah, I was all over the place. I guess I could share. I have some token stuff, so I don't really want to share just in case I expose a token. So yeah, what I've been working on is rotating the GitLab bot token. So we're just kind of limiting permissions on some of the tokens that we have in www.gitlab.com, just for security reasons. So I've been on that, and then there was a mini incident with the redirects. And so one of the temporary solutions to get it under the 1,000 redirect cap was to find like find redirects that were targeting 404s. So some of these redirects are like 4 years old. And so I wrote a script that pretty much 404 checked all the targets and then deleted all the ones that are 404ing. And then I removed the categories and features YAML file in buyer experience. I think they were just floating around from the past, so they didn't need to be there. They're gone. And then I went back to the 404 finder job, and then I fixed all the 404s. They're starting to add up again. And then I added 2 new jobs for security into the pipeline. So there's the security detection job, and there's the, what's the other one? The dependency scanning job. And so right now they run on every prod deployment, which I think I'm going to change it to only run like on a schedule because we don't change stuff that often. And so I think we can wait a day if something pops up. Also, the first cleanup of features YAML. So I worked with product and we managed to trim down. So we removed bronze, silver, all those like weird plan names from features YAML. So they're gone. The next step is to trim it down even more. So I think we're down to like 10,000 lines. So it's still huge, but it's better. And then I also fixed a bug with slippers. One of the releases for some reason just didn't work. So then re-released as 2.1.18 and now that works. So anyway, a lot of like fires, but they're all out now. So looking good into the holidays. Javi, you're up next.
Thank you, Nathan. Iteration, I worked on more of the blog image compression, worked on a couple things. One, if the image is larger than 1900 pixels wide, it'll scale it down proportionately. 2, if the compression algorithm doesn't compress the images properly, it'll just keep the original. Also going through subdirectories now. So it's like if your directories has directories, it'll go through their directories as well. That made a big improvement. We were looking at we haven't run the algorithm on the blog images on production yet, but that MR got merged, and the last time I ran it, it had 54% savings on that directory, which is a lot. So happy about that. Small upgrade to remove the manage tab from the secondary table. Small thing that Justin asked me to do yesterday, and then I had work with adding GA data properties to CTAs. Thank you, Marg, for checking some of that, and thank you for catching some of those silly errors. Appreciate it. And that's it for me. Yeah. Pass it back to Justin.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. And yep. Yeah, I don't know. I have a good sign off. So till next time.